Hello YouTube. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than most of the other ones I've done. I do like taking you to historic places, and we are in a historic site. Most times, especially out west, there are still foundation stones, maybe actual buildings still exist. In this case, there is an actual building. But usually there's a whole lot of things to show you. In this case, we're going to do more of a story before I actually get to that building. In 1754, the French and Indian War was looming, about to start, and let me get their name right, Major General John Winslow brought 600 men. He was sent here by the Massachusetts colony. Maine, we're in Maine, was part of Massachusetts at that time, and we're on a peninsula here where the Kennebec River and that side and the Sebasticook River on that side. So this was the confluence of two rivers, and back then rivers were major trading routes. The natives had lived on this site for thousands of years, and during King William's War, the natives had burned their fort and left, and because of the English coming after them. Anyway, back to 1754, they started building a fort here. The idea was that they wanted to stop the British up in Canada, or the French, I'm sorry, the French up in Quebec from coming down into the Kennebec River Valley and attacking the settlements there. There was another fort a little farther down the river, but this was the one at the confluence of those two, so it really controlled the area. It was, he had 600 men with him, and when they built this fort, it only was used for a few years. French and Indian War's done, really don't need it, so it fell into disrepair. You get to the American Revolution, and this was a stopping point for Benedict Arnold when he was leading the attack on Quebec, which ultimately failed. And so they stopped here. Some other notables of the era had stopped here, and Paul Revere, Aaron Burr, but the fort as a fort really wasn't used that way anymore. So it fell into private hands, and they tore most of the fort down. But let me take you over to what's left. Well, this is the last remaining building of the fort. This is the blockhouse. It overlooks the river. I mean, it's literally right on the crest of the hill. So not only this is the Sebasticook River, and this is the oldest original blockhouse in the United States. There's an older one up in Canada, but only a couple years older. Now you'll notice there is some difference in the wood. Some of this stuff looks incredibly old, and some of it not so much. That's because in 1987 this area flooded, and the water here was 8 feet deep, which is about up to the floor timbers on the second floor, and the whole blockhouse was washed away. Men in boats went out and were able to retrieve 22 of the original timbers, some of them as far as 40 miles downriver, and they brought it back and reassembled it in its original position, and of course replaced what had been lost. But this side is probably the most original. It's just got the foundation beam, or whatever you want to call it. So you can see just by looking at it, and this might be a replacement here, but you can see how it was done. So it's pretty cool just to be able to come up and touch something that's been here for, what I figure, 265 years. So, and again, like I said, it literally is right on, well, I'm going to call it a cliff because it goes down pretty steep to the river. We can thank the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. The blockhouse changed hands a number of times. Till 1922, they got it. They preserved it, and in 1966, they gave it to the state, and then the local people raised funds to create this park, which looks like they must have concerts, a lot of little picnic shelters, pretty nice place. And I believe if you're here at the right time, this may be open to be able to step inside and take a look. I can't say for sure. So anyway, like I said, a little bit of a different video today, and thanks for watching, and I will see you down the road.